Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, yes, tamu sana. Yes. If you look at today's Star newspaper, it captures a story. Mudavadi, Weta, Moi, Kalonzo split on Raila unity bid. Then down there it says, technical team tells bosses to retreat and agree on Odinga factor. That's the Star newspaper today as captured on its headline. And if you dig deep, or rather, if you read through the story, this is what it says. The One Kenya Alliance principals on Tuesday was split on whether they can reunite with ODM boss Raila Odinga in a formidable force to face Deputy President William Ruto. The Star has established Ford Kenya leader Moses Wetangula and Kani Chief Gideon Moi both agreed they had no problem teaming up with former Prime Minister. However, signaling deep-seated political rivalry, ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi and his Wiper counterpart Kalonzo Musyoka insisted they could only accommodate Raila if he plays second fiddle. That's the story as captured by today's Star newspaper. From that story, ladies and gentlemen, you can see clearly, without any iota of a doubt at all, that One Kenya Alliance is split. Half of it have no problem working with Raila Amolo Odinga. The other half still feels and maintains that they can only work with Raila Amolo Odinga if Raila Odinga plays a second fiddle to them. That's the position as things stand today in Oka, a big split. So what does that split shows, or what does the split mean for Raila Odinga presidential ambition next year, or even William Ruto's presidential ambition next year? That's our analysis and discussion in this video right now. Having looked at all the possibilities, I believe that the first possibility, or what that means for Raila or even Ruto next year is this. The split is a big win for both William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga's presidential ambition next year. This is simply because from the split, ladies and gentlemen, because from other sources again, we are fully convinced that the president as of now and his handlers have now settled on most likely a Raila Amolo Odinga presidency. So to find Kalonzo and Musalia Mudavadi playing hardball, it simply means that William Ruto, the handshake team, is not going to face William Ruto as a united team. They are going to face William Ruto, a divided team. So that's a big win for William Ruto. And I'm also saying it's a big win for Raila Amolo Odinga because of this. Assuming the One Kenya Alliance all stuck to their guns, all of them, and say that they cannot work with Raila Amolo Odinga, that would be a very big blow in one way or the other to Raila Amolo Odinga. Because any vote, whether there is only one vote, counts in a presidential election. So assuming that this team had all stuck to its gun and say they are not willing to work with Raila Amolo Odinga, that could be a very big blow to Raila Odinga. But nonetheless, we can find half of it being Gideon Moi and also Wetangula, saying they have no problem with working with Raila Amolo Odinga. It simply means that Raila can run away with some of the votes from this group. Or even not even running away with some votes. The few who are ready to work with Raila Amolo Odinga can join Raila Amolo Odinga. And then the ones who are still dilly-dallying, as time goes by, they might also be interested in joining a Raila Amolo Odinga team. So it's a win for both Ruto and also Raila Amolo Odinga. And then secondly, anytime you see Gideon Moi, ladies and gentlemen, Gideon Moi represents always the interest of the deep state. And sometimes back I've been analyzing in this YouTube channel that OCA was formed to propel a Gideon Moi presidency without a Raila Amolo Odinga input. Then it flopped. So when you see Gideon Moi now willing to work with Raila Amolo Odinga, it simply means that as of now, as things stand right now, the deep state might be willing also to work with Raila Amolo Odinga. Because from where I sit again, ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe that Gideon Moi does not really have a mind of his own on matters political engagement. Gideon Moi somehow happens to be the spanner boy for the president. He does exactly what maybe is instructed by maybe the president or the deep state. So if you find Gideon Moi saying that he's ready to work with Raila Amolo Odinga, that's the system. That's the system and the deep state talking. So that's also a big win for Raila Amolo Odinga because, ladies and gentlemen, we know pretty well most of Raila supporters, they by now understand what deep state can really do in terms of presidential election. Members of parliament, MCAs, the governors, those ones have no problems. But when it comes to the presidency, it's the deep state who decides who becomes the president. And Raila supporters, as of now, they understand that and they know it pretty well. So Gideon Moi insisting that he has no problem working with Raila Amolo Odinga, that shows and really proves that the deep state, as of now, might also be willing to work with Raila Amolo Odinga. And then thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, the division in OCA just tells that as of now, OCA principals themselves, they have not agreed among themselves onto who to support among them. And yesterday, I did analyze something like that yesterday in my yesterday's video. So the division just proves and tells that as of now, OCA principals themselves, they have not agreed amongst themselves. So that also exposes them as a group who lacks tax. Because now if they want to form government, and then they are saying that they don't want to work with maybe one person, Raila Odinga, unless he plays second fiddle. It just shows that these people, they view Raila as more qualified than themselves. In the event that Raila is amongst themselves, then they find that, or rather they see as if now if Raila is with them, then they don't have any chance to beat him. So they are now trying to chase away Raila Amolo Odinga because they feel that Raila is better than all of them. Because in the event that Raila is amongst them, then none of them stand a chance of beating Raila Amolo Odinga. So that also exposes them as people who are suffering what we call inferiority complex. They are not confident amongst themselves. They know that Raila stands a better chance of beating all of them to clinch the presidential ticket, assuming they were all together in one camp. So that also just exposes this team as people who lack tact, people who are not confident or even sure of their support, or rather of their support base. And then fourthly, ladies and gentlemen, for a very long time now, we knew that Moses Masika Wetangula had thrown his weight behind Musalia Mudavadi's presidency. But of late, Moses Wetangula has been going quiet. And then in this yesterday's meeting, Moses Wetangula, now to say he's ready to work with Raila Amolo Odinga, also just tells that he might be now slowly dumping Musalia Mudavadi and warming up towards Raila Amolo Odinga. And in the Luya political matrix, we all know that Moses Masika Wetangula represents the Bukusu vote. Having Moses Wetangula in your camp can really bring a very good perception that now the Bukusus are solidly behind you. So Moses Masika Wetangula now claiming to be ready to work with Raila Odinga is just an indication that he might be dumping Musalia Mudavadi and he might be warming up to Raila Amolo Odinga. And also that's a big win for Raila Amolo Odinga, because we know that if you look at the current Luya politics properly, then the Bukusus, because of what happened between Raila and Kijana Wamalwa, the Bukusus have not really been warming up to Raila Amolo Odinga. In fact, the other sub-tribes of the Luyas, they have been more friendly to Raila than the Bukusus. So if Raila can make sure that he ropes in Moses Wetangula into his camp, that can be a very big win for Raila Amolo Odinga as far as the Mulembe vote is concerned. Because the other sub-tribes of the Luya community, Raila has a pretty good number among them. But now with the entrance of Masika Wetangula, Raila can now just add that to his already, to the kind of support he already has in Western, or rather among the Mulembe nation, which is a very, very good thing. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, that kind of disharmony or disunity just tells that we might have more than 2 presidential candidates next year. We might have Raila Odinga and William Ruto as the front runners, and then we might just find also Musalia Mudavadi on the race and also Kalonzo Musyoka on the race again. So next year we might have more than even 2 presidential candidates, if this split by Oka is anything to go by. So it is also just preparing us to expect maybe not only the 2 frontrunners, Raila and Ruto, but we might also have a Kalonzo candidature on the ballot and also even Musalia Mudavadi. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, let me leave it at that today. So if you've just bumped on this YouTube channel for the very first time, tap on the subscription button and also kindly give this video a like. Give it a like, please. God bless you. God bless Kenya. And before I forget, I'm still working on Raila night meeting with Charity Ngilu yesterday in Mombasa. So stay tuned, for it's going to be a wonderful video. As Oka was busy meeting yesterday, Raila was also busy meeting Honorable Charity Ngilu. And when I talk about Charity Ngilu, you know what might be happening behind the scenes. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana.